18 weeks out from my next ultramarathon. This one is a big one. Last man standing with BPN. As you guys know, I'm a BPN athlete now. Part of that is I get to race in their events. Last man standing is an ultramarathon unlike anything else. 4.2 mile loop on the hour, every hour, and you keep going until one person is left. So ultimately at the moment, I'm training for a race that I don't know the distance of, which means I need to be prepared to go for days. Currently here in beautiful London, weather is about 1 degree today, and we've got a double training session. What I'm gonna do today is take you through my full day of eating. Over the last few years, I have weighed different weights. 112 kilos when I first got into running. I was still playing rugby then. My weight management wasn't as important. I then got down to 94 kilos last year. As you can see, pretty big difference. I managed this through my nutrition. Nutrition is the most important factor when looking at your body composite. How much you want to weigh, how much body fat you've got on there is all dictated by what you eat. A calorie deficit is the only way you lose weight. And if you're not losing weight, it means you're not in a calorie deficit. However, when you're trying to train for endurance, you need to be fueling your workout. I've done cuts before where I've dropped 10 kilos in 4 months. I wasn't doing that much cardio and my endurance performance wasn't really increasing that much either. So trying to train for performance and get your weight down is quite a delicate process. So for me, the most important thing is fuel my workouts properly. So I'm feeling great during my workouts. Today we've got 2 workouts. We've got a 15K run and we've got a gym session this afternoon. Big day of eating, big day of training, and a big day of, well, ultra prep. Alright, 12K down. So important when doing distance running is fueling properly. I used to go out for 20K, 30K runs without bringing anything with me. At the moment, I'm testing out the BPN Go gels. I've used the same brand of gels for a long time, but now I'm working with BPN. Before I start recommending them, I want to make sure they taste good, they sit well in my stomach. Gels are quite unique, we're all different, and they're all made of different ingredients, so finding a gel that you get on with is really important because I've had gels before that have led to me needing to find a push midway through a run, and I've had a lot of gels that worked really well in my stomach. Again, we're all different, sample gels, try gels. Yeah, BPN Go gel, hitting this one in, 100 calories, 20 grams of carbs. So not a particularly heavy gel, but tastes really good. Big fan of these. I'm gonna need a lot of these though. I generally go through 100 to 120 grams of carbs an hour on an ultra or a marathon. These are 24 grams of carbs, sorry. That's 4 or 5 of these an hour. Might not be the best thing for fueling for me, but for a half marathon, could be good shit. Gosh. Meal 2 of the day, post-run. We've got 300 grams of chicken, we've got 300 grams of potatoes boiled, and we've also got 200 grams of asparagus as well there. This is a highly satiating meal. The trick when you're trying to lose weight, but also still eating for performance, is picking things that are gonna fill you up. Protein's highly satiating. Potatoes, especially boiled potatoes, crazy satiating, and then of course we've got a lot of fibre in there from the asparagus. This is also delicious as well. When people are cutting, I always see these really bland meals that people make, but they're not using seasoning, and they think that everything's got to be boiled or cooked without any spice. Using the fajita mix in the chicken, garlic on the asparagus, some steakhouse seasoning on the boiled potatoes, absolutely slaps. Run was this morning, workouts this evening. I try and keep at least 8 hours between hard sessions, so if we've got a lift and a run the same day, I'll generally not do them next to each other. I'll try and have 8 hours between them, or at least 2 eating windows. So for me, that'll be lunch and like a late snack, or lunch and dinner, to make sure that the sessions are good. Otherwise you get something called competitive adaptations, where your body's trying to improve the 2 different stimuluses you set it. Best thing for it is just keep them separate, or if you're trying to train running and strength, do them on different days, or at least keep them at opposite ends of the day. It just makes training a lot easier, it makes progress a lot better as well. If you try and lift straight after a run, you're gonna feel terrible. Your performance is gonna be great. Same way if you run after a lift session, again, you've used up a lot of your glycogen, your performance is gonna be great, so I try and keep them at opposite ends of the day. Alright, so usually I don't dress up much in the day. I'm pretty much in running gear or gym gear constantly. But today I'm on the Runner podcast. Runner is a training app that started a few years ago. I actually used to use Runner when I first got into running. I trained for my first 100K race using their app and their programs. So yeah, invited onto their podcast. Nice little full circle moment. Just talking about the challenges in the past, the ultras, what we've got coming up. You know, I used to struggle a lot with public speaking, speaking to camera, which is obviously what I'm doing now. And so it's one of those things that whenever I get a chance to go on a podcast, I generally will do. I used to be terrified of doing things like this.
Hello.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
How are you doing? Nice to see you. Lovely to see you. There's something so special about relying on yourself to solve those problems without knowing what those problems are at the start, but you know they're going to happen, and backing yourself and betting on yourself to know you can sort of figure them out as you go. I have 5% lean ground beef, so it hasn't got much fat content in there, so I've got a bit of oil in the pan. The pan is hot. The trick is to get a really good sear on it. I'm not trying to like make it go grey. I want to get a nice mild reaction to it, which is like where the beefy, meaty taste comes from, which is pretty important when you're cooking beef. Double training days are big days. We've got to eat big on those days. 5% lean ground beef, potatoes and mixed veg. Now I'll be honest, it doesn't look great. It does taste pretty good though. Shallots, mushrooms, 5% lean ground beef, mixed veg and potatoes as well. When I'm trying to get lean, potatoes are absolutely key. They're so filling. Potatoes are the most satiating food you can get. It packs out a meal so well. So for me, this is like a go-to meal most evenings during the week. We've got one more session to do today. That is a lift. I've filled it pretty well. I still feel pretty good, even though I have ran 16K this morning. It's been more than 8 hours since that run. So my body's ready to train again. Let's get it done. This afternoon we've got posterior chain session, so back, hamstrings, calves. I try and swap between anterior chain, front group of muscles, and posterior chain throughout the week. Because I'm lifting 3-4 times a week. I'll eventually get down to 2 a week, then 1 a week when I'm in deep ultra prep. Right now it's fun, because I'm lifting 3-4 times a week, laying the baseline I need to do something like the Go One More Last Man Standing Ultramarathon. And so again, it's just part of the process. Starting with the baseline, a lot of easy mileage, a lot of strength work, looking at the areas that I'm weak, building on those weaknesses. And as we progress through the training block, pulling down on the strength training, up on the mileage, more hill work, a little more speed work as well. And ultimately, to get my body prepared for what's to come, because in 17 weeks time, I'm planning to go for 48 hours straight. So we're executing this training block very carefully. Coming from a rugby background, hamstrings are so important. The number one injuries to see playing rugby is hamstrings. People not training their hamstrings properly, people not loading them correctly, but also people training them just together. It's also important to train them individually as well, challenging the stability around the hamstrings. It's probably the one area of my running that I'd say is far better than other areas. It's hamstring durability. I've never had an issue with hamstrings throughout my rugby playing time, and since I've been doing ultra running, my hamstrings have been the one thing that always held up so well. And all that comes down to the fact that I fuck them up when I train hard, intentionally. And yeah, I've been blessed with no injuries, touch wood, on my hamstrings yet. I used to train a lot more bodybuilder-esque with a lot of my sessions. I still to an element do now, but focused around running. So the primary focus is the work I'm doing in the gym helping with my running. When we test with my physio to look at areas of weakness or areas that need improvement, that's fed back into my training program to make sure that I'm training the areas I need to train in order to improve as a runner, in order to make sure that I'm not going to get found out on these big challenges, these big races. Anything that's longer than 12, 18 hours of running, you'll get found out if you haven't done the work. So that's why strength training is core foundation of not only injury prevention, but performance as well. Skier yogurt bowl. These things are an absolute game changer. I used to use Greek 0% fat Farge yogurt, which is pretty good, don't get me wrong, great choice. Skier just tastes a bit creamy and a bit better. I banged this with blueberries, raspberries, and a tiny bit of granola. Just add a bit of crunch to it. I've got a sweet tooth, so that's why I have a Diet Coke in the day, but I need something sweet at the end of the day. When you're cutting, most things taste naturally a bit sweeter anyway. So for me, this tastes super sweet. It's exactly what I want at the end of the day, where I've trained twice, had a long ass day, and I've eaten really well. So for me, this absolutely bangs. So we've got 17 weeks until the Go One More Ultramarathon in Austin, Texas. It's going to be a hell of a ride these next 17 weeks because it's going to require a lot of running, a lot of training, a lot of testing myself in a very uncomfortable way. Realistically, if I want to try and win or at least do well in this race, I'm going to have to be ready to go for at least 48 hours. That's 200 miles in 2 days with no sleep, which is a massive, massive ask, but again, with the goal being so big, it's going to force us to perform. It's going to force me to be more disciplined, train harder, push myself in different ways, and just hold myself to account with this stuff. I mean, over the last few years, from running the London Underground to running to the capitals, the UK and Ireland, I've learned that the bigger the goal you have, the higher you'll rise to achieve it. It scares me, 100%. Of course it does. Like, it's supposed to scare you. These things aren't supposed to be easy. So for me, it's a case of, right, what do I need to do now, between now and the 24th of May? What do I need to do? Who do I need to become in order to achieve what I want to try and do? And that's the ultimate question. So over the next few months, we're going to be training harder. I'm going to be filming it all here on YouTube, as well as on TikTok and Instagram, as I usually do. But it's gonna be a hell of a ride. You know, I'm out to Texas a lot. I'm off to the Himalayas as well. It's gonna be a pretty epic journey, and I'm gonna be sharing the whole way along here. So whether it comes down to my nutrition, my training, my mindset around these things, training for a backyard ultra or a last man standing ultra marathon is a really unique kind of race. Not many people run these races for obvious reasons, because it's fucking mental.